You're listening to Once Upon a Mama. I'm your host, Molly Ann Luna. Each week, we call my mom, the original Ma, Barb Ripley, to talk about ways of navigating motherhood at different ages and different stages. Because after all, once a mama, always a mama. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Molly. Hey, since last time you and I were talking, I had an interesting thought I'd been thinking about, and then it happened to come up on the Today Show this morning.
What?
And, well, it is words, phrases that people most don't like for 2017.
Phrases that people don't like.
Most for 2017. And one of them was fake news. But the other one that really struck home to me is no offense, but.
No offense,
but.
Okay, so these are phrases that people say in the year 2017, but people don't like them.
Right. Phrases or words. Some of them were other words that were teen slang use. But the one I want to talk today about is no offense, but. Because I have been told that a few times by my children. And
Not by me, I hope.
Yeah.
Oh.
And yeah.
Call me out.
Call you out. Yeah. And so when one of my children was here this morning and that was on TV and I was like, she goes, hey, I stopped saying that to you 2 years ago because you told me you don't like it. I said, but it just doesn't make sense. Because if you're going to say no offense, but it's going to be offensive.
Right. Like, what's your intention? Like, what follows the but? The but counter cancels out the no offense part, right?
Yeah, it's awful. So I really found that was kind of humorous this morning on the Today Show, that's one of the things people have written in that they do not like when people say no offense, but the person that's saying that is always going to be offensive to the person they're speaking to.
Right. Because what is it that you have to say that you feel like it needs to be pre-qualified with no offense, but this is what I actually think.
Yeah.
First of all, why are you being apologetic about what you think? Oh.
Okay, that leads me to my other thing that I've been thinking about since we last spoke. Do you have to pre-think everything that comes out of your mouth so as not to offend the other person? And if you're doing that, are you being true to yourself? I was thinking about you, how you always say, what is it you want to say? Self?
I don't know. What do I always say?
Authentic self. Authentic self.
Authentic self. Yeah.
Right. And so by trying to do that, you wouldn't filter everything you say.
Right.
But if you have to filter everything you say, you're not being authentic to anybody.
That's true. So, hence the phrase, I guess that's coming from the person who doesn't want to offend anybody, but who does want to speak their truth. No offense, but.
Right. Okay. So I never want to offend anybody. I don't want anybody not to like me. I never want to offend anybody, but I got to tell you, Molly, yesterday I got a phone call from a supervisor.
What?
And
for work?
Yeah.
Southwest?
For work from Southwest. But I had a couple other instances. I thought it was about that. A young man had hit an old woman.
What?
So I thought it was about, yes, this off topic, but a young man on my plane punched an old woman. So I thought, okay, the supervisors, he said a few choice words prior to that. So when I see the supervisors calling, I'm thinking it's about that.
Well,
or
why would they call you? Oh, because like you were there witnessing it and they were trying.
I was on the flight. Yeah, I was working the flight.
Oh my gosh. But was this a Southwest Airlines
Yes
flight attendant that punched the old lady?
No, it was two passengers.
Oh, two passengers got in a little squabble or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. And I don't know what happened, but I've never seen anybody punch anybody like that. So, okay, that was my first thought, was that's why they're calling me. Or we had another problem with an ops agent, which an ops agent is the person that takes your tickets and shuts the airplane door at the end. And we were having a little issue with one on another flight. So you never know. Sometimes that finally gets to their desk and they need to call you. Well, this one, Molly, shocked me. I I'm up at the front of the airplane and I'm constantly saying, oh, I like your purse. I like your shoes. I like your, just try to interact with the people, let them know I'm acknowledging they're coming on the plane. Well, apparently I said something to this, totally didn't mean to be offensive, but it was. And after I said it, I kind of got a little from her, like a little, I felt like maybe that didn't set right with her. And so when she got off the plane, I made sure to remark, like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Have a wonderful day, because she was just gorgeous. And I did not mean to offend her. Never thought a thing of it again until I got the phone call yesterday.
So you were thinking that your supervisor was calling you about all these other crazy incidences that happened.
Yeah.
But it ended up being that you actually said something not intentionally offensive, but something offensive to the
Yes.
Yes. What did you say?
It was so dumb. I didn't even think about it at the time, but I was just commenting on people's outfits when they came on. And this gal, beautiful gal, she had on like this sweats that had about 3 little stripes on the thigh and then some numbers. And I was just kind of looking down, and it reminded me of kind of like just like a prison uniform. It wasn't orange or anything, but it was black and white. And I said something about, I think I said something flippant like, oh, you just came from jail or something. Just not even, yeah. Yeah, not even trying to be offensive, but after I
really was in jail.
No, I don't think so. She looked like a supermodel. I mean, not that they can't go to jail, but
Martha Stewart went to jail. Not that she's a supermodel.
No.
Sidebar.
But anyway, after I said it, and she kind of like cringed a second, I was like, oh my gosh. So I really did go out of my way to make sure. And I always say things to the passengers when they're getting off anyway, like, oh, well, enjoy your trip, or hope you enjoy being with grandma, or whatever that I remember from our conversation. So with her, I remembered I felt like maybe I had offended her a little bit, and I don't want to offend anybody. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, you are just so gorgeous. I just hope you go out and have a great week. And that didn't do it. Apparently, the way that I said what I said had offended her enough that she needed to call my company and complain to me about me. And my supervisor was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I hate to call you. I said, you know what? No, I'm glad you called me, because my daughters have told me this. Sometimes you need to watch what you say. So next time when I'm greeting people, I will try to be more in check and think about things. But do you ever say something to someone and not knowing who they are or what their background is or what their situation is, and not meaning to offend, and then you've offended them?
Oh, I am the queen of awkward situations. I wonder where I get that from. But absolutely. There's been plenty of times in my desire to connect more deeply. The first thing you want to do is greet somebody and meet them at their level. And usually a genuine compliment is a great way to kind of break the ice and to build that. Do you think that if you would have said, no offense, but your outfit looks like you just came out of jail,
that wouldn't have been any better? No. And it was a really cute outfit. And I totally was just, sometimes I think I'm funny and I'm not. And so I was just trying to be engaging and funny. Mm-hmm. And boy, I might have ruined her day. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oh my gosh, I need to find her and apologize to her, let her know I'm not really like that. But that's never going to happen. I need to just let it go and do better next time. But that brings me back around to my question. Do we need to filter? They want us to be ourselves at my job. Yep. I want to be myself. Maybe I'm not the perfect person in the world, but I want to be myself. Do we need to tiptoe around and be our unauthentic selves so that the other people don't misinterpret what we're saying?
Right. So there's a fine line, right? Because you want to be unapologetically your authentic self, but you also want to make sure that you're not just being
a rude jerk. Yeah. Yeah.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So you want to come from a mindful space because of the industry that you work in, and both myself, we're people. We're people. Is that
yeah. We're people pleasers.
Well, yeah, that's something.
Well, I am.
Listen, that's a topic for another day, but I used to think that was like a really good thing. And I'm recognizing that being a people pleaser is actually something that's really been holding me back in my life and my career, because you can't please everybody.
It's exhausting.
You
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, you're going to wear yourself out. But what I do know is that if you, whatever it is you're saying or thinking, and if it's authentic and it's true to you, and your intention is pure, like in this example, I believe, because you're my mom and I know you so well, I believe your intention was pure. It was just you trying to make a connection, to strike up a conversation with the guest on your flight, and it wasn't meant to be offensive.
Not at all.
And so because it comes from a place of intentional good-naturedness, then I say it's fine. Obviously, your supervisor understood that as well, because you didn't get reprimanded.
Right. And he apologized to me, but at the same time, I'm thanking him, because honestly, that is something I do need an awareness brought to me, to be more careful. But I also enjoy my job so much that I want to be my authentic self. I don't want to sit there and think each time a person comes on, oh, should I say something? Should I just smile and go, good morning, good morning? That's not me. I want to engage in them and get down and talk to the little ones. Oh, what's your name, buddy? And compliment the man that's dressed nicely, or the uncle that's helping his ill nephew get on and off the plane, that he's such an awesome man, Oh, I actually got a great letter. Did I tell you this? I got a great.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. We also get good. Not only do we get bad calls for my work, I got a great letter, and I was being my authentic self with this person. She was an 84-year-old, beautiful, beautiful supermodel back in her day type woman. Her daughter and son-in-law were
on your plane.
Yeah, she used to be one. And so they were taking her to San Francisco for her last time, basically, and celebrate her 85th birthday. And of course, that, struck home to me, because, I've lost mom. So I just think anybody that's treating their mom is great. I love. And so we made a big deal out of her birthday. We turned off the lights in the plane, and we had everybody sing happy birthday. We made her a crown. We announced her, and then afterwards she and I took a picture, because I was just so, and you can see her holding my arm, just like, thank you,
Aww.
Just a beautiful soul. And so I got a letter from her daughter. But with my company, you can't always see your letter. So I asked specifically, I said, I don't know what I did on this plane. I got a kudos, but I don't know what I did. So when they told me what it was, I absolutely remember the lady. I have her phone with my picture in my phone.
Aww.
That, it weighs and balances. But I get many more good letters than the bad call. But that really struck a chord with me today. No offense, but. And I'm wondering how many people out there are doing the same thing, saying something offensive, but they're not meaning to, or they put those words in front of before they talk. I mean,
I think
that makes...
the words "no offense," but already for me, that's coming from a vibration and intention of not love, whatever the opposite of love is. And when you're using that, you're not being of a loving place. Now, if you say something that does end up offending somebody, well, as long as you had said it from a place of love, which I believe, maybe you shouldn't say something to a person about, hey, it looks like you just got out of jail, because especially working in transportation, people coming from all over the world.
I know. I didn't even think about it.
Maybe she literally did just leave jail. But as long as your intention is pure, as long as your intention is pure and it was love-based and it was really just you trying to connect more authentically with somebody, then continue to be unapologetically your authentic self, and know that sometimes people aren't going to love you, or they're not going to receive you in the way that you want them to. But we're not meant to seek the love and validation from everyone else. We're meant to seek the love and validation within ourselves and be ourselves. Yeah. And then whatever repercussions come about that's on that other person for their interpretation of the message that was sent.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I've really just been scratching my head this morning about that. Kind of just rethinking about it all, and how many times people have said to me, no offense, but...
What sort of things do they say after that when you hear it?
Oh, I don't know.
You're like, you don't want to open that can of worms.
No, I really don't, because I don't remember, but I can remember. But even, and then even today, like, my daughter said something about, she was here and said it was something about something and squishy, and I just teasingly said, well, you're something and squishy. She goes, well, that's rude. And I'm go, oh, I'm just totally kidding. But she goes, well, if I'd have said that to you, you'd have got your feelings hurt. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe not, I don't, again, kidding around, intentions, good intentions, bad intentions, filtering what comes out of your mouth. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, as a recovering people pleaser myself, because it can be like an addiction, always searching for the love and validation from others and being like, oh, I mean, everybody wants to be liked. It's our human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't want to be liked and loved and celebrated? But you can't expect it from everybody. Even if what you had said had been like, because this has happened to me several times. I am just that type of person that when I see a woman who has a great haircut and her outfit looks great, I will go out of my way. I will walk across the crowded mall and stop and say, excuse me, ma'am, I just want to say you look phenomenal today, woman. You're totally rocking it. And I have had the nastiest glares back at me for like, who are you to compliment me? And that one always throws me because it was love-based. I had great intention. I didn't want anything from this woman. This has happened several times, but I didn't want anything from this woman, but they weren't in a space of even receiving that love-centered message that I had to share.
Yeah. And they put a lot of time and energy into going out to look that way. So should be a welcome compliment in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a welcome compliment, but I guess what I'm getting at is like, no matter what is said and the way that it's said with the intention of love and it's coming from the best place possible, sometimes it's not going to be received well. So if you continue to operate from a space of, but I need people to like me, I need to be validated by others. Sorry, my sister, like, you are going to be sorely disappointed because that's never going to happen. You got to be okay with, hey, look, sometimes I'm going to offend some people. And if I know within my own heart that my intentions were pure and love-centered, then my ego, or my conscience is clear and I can move on with my day, not having to feel like I have to seek out and do an apology like, oh, I'm sorry you were offended that I said that thing to you.
That's a really lesson that I've been learning these last 2 years because I've always worked with little ones, and little ones just adore me, and it's easy. It's like I can be my total authentic self, mm-hmm. and they never criticize me. I never said the wrong thing. It's just for me, that's so easy. Now I've been working with adults and people with different political views and different morals and different religious views and different
background. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm learning so much about actually how to be, adulting was another one of the words that they hated on the show, which I find a lot of college kids putting that on Facebook. I'm adulting now because they're out of college, so they're adulting. That was another one of the words they didn't like, adulting. But I am finding that I'm getting away from just the little ones who are my comfort zone. And sometimes when I'm home and I'm lonely, I'll go pick up one of them. I just had my grandbabies here, my other grandbabies here, loved it. But they think grandma's pretty all right. They don't care what she says or does. And I think it's easy for me to surround myself with little ones that I don't have to sit there and think, no offense, but
Well, that's because little ones they're pure. They only know love. They were made from love. They only know love. They haven't been in this world long enough to create any fear-based paradigms around them to say, oh, I need to defend myself or I need to protect myself. Whereas adults, unfortunately, have been through some things and they have created some paradigms and aren't always as welcoming of the loving energy that's being sent, even if it comes in an off the cuff.
Yeah.
I was like, what is the phrase? I don't know.
It's off the cuff kind of like remark, but yeah, I totally didn't mean it to be hurtful and kind of feeling bad about that today. So
you get to now let it go, my girlfriend, my mom, I'm calling my girlfriend. You are my best friend anyway.
Let it go.
But let it go. Know that you were coming from a space of love. And just move on. Just move on. So no offense, but
you're so funny.
Okay, Mama. So we want to hear from you. Tell us in the conversation over at mindfulmamastv.com. Are you someone who's constantly feeling like you have to filter your words so that you're pleasing other people and you're denying yourself of your most authentic self? Or do you just let it all loose and just speak what's on your mind?
I don't know about that.
Either way, we want to hear from you, Mama. So head over to the show notes at mindfulmamastv.com.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Love you, Mom.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Once Upon a Mama. Be sure to head to mindfulmamastv.com to join the conversation. Also, if you're a mama or a future mama-to-be, be sure to join the Mindful Mamas community on Facebook. This love-centered community of driven mamas from all over the world are ready to love, guide, and support you as you create a happier, healthier, wealthier life for you and your little ones. Mindful Mamas TV would like to take a moment to say thank you to our exclusive insiders. Your contribution, as little as $1 an episode, is what helps make this show possible. A portion of your contribution goes to the Unstoppable Foundation, a nonprofit humanitarian organization bringing sustainable education to children and communities in developing countries. Not yet an exclusive insider, but want to become one? Go to mindfulmamastv.com/connect to find out more.